I had a black mother come into my office one day. She said, Dr. Tunde, you don't know what you're talking about because his father wasn't special ed, his uncle wasn't special ed, his brother wasn't special ed, I was in special ed. She said special ed runs in the family. I said, well, guess what? I said, special ed don't run in your family. You know what runs in your family? No homework runs in your family. Poor parenting runs in your family. Not going to school runs in your family. Not going to report card conferences runs in your family. Your son is not in special ed because of a genetic link. Your son is in special ed because of the intergenerational transfer of failure and mediocrity. That's what's wrong with the black community. We are comfortable with underachievement, not just with our children, but with ourselves as adults. I'm trying to understand how we always running around worshiping Black Wall Street. Everywhere you go, black people talking about Tulsa, how great it was, and it was great. We talk about Wilmington, North Carolina, how great it was, and it was great. We talk about Rosewood, Florida, and Charleston, South Carolina, and how great it was, and it was great. But that was over 100 years ago. If you love Black Wall Street as much as you do, then somebody explain to me why nowhere in this United States, 50 million Africans spread across 50 states, and you don't have a Black Wall Street nowhere. Not a single city where we own the school independently without no white finance, the bank independently without no white finance, the hospital independently without no white finance, the supermarket independently without no white finance. You know why? Because even though we are $2 trillion people, even though we the richest Africans on the planet Earth in terms of take-home pay, even though we're the wealthiest black people in the world, slavery did something to us that led to a dysfunction in our behavior. Slavery took from you and I. Slavery stole from black people the natural God-given desire to want to control your destiny. And this is why black people so comfortable letting the Latinos gentrify your community. This is why black people so comfortable letting white folk miseducate your children. This is why black people so comfortable spending $30 billion a year on hair and weave products. $30 billion a year. Black woman, do you know that your weave, hair, and wig bill is more than half the countries in Africa have to operate on for the whole year? And that's what you spend on weave, hair, and wig, because for 400 years, the white man that made our black women feel so insecure about the way she looked that she spends 1/3 of her disposable income trying to enhance her beauty. Black men, $2 billion on Air Jordans every year, but our boys ain't got no schools that they can go to. $1 million on McDonald's, and our elders are dying in racist hospital beds. $800 million on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork, financing your own cancer. All these college degrees we done got, all these government positions we done achieved, all these black millionaires and billionaires we got, but what good is any of it if your mind is just as under control of the white man now as it was 400 years ago? Las Vegas, nothing will ever change for Africans in America until we change the way we think. The psychological revolution is the most important one. We talk about reparations, and I support reparations, and we will get reparations, but my problem with reparations is you want the white man to repair his damage, but you don't want to repair your own. Do you realize we got problems money can't fix? The black man and woman's issue with one another, no dollar can fix that. The black woman's lack of appreciation for her God-given beauty, no money can fix that. The black man's unwillingness to stand, fight, and die for his people, no dollar can fix that. Half of our psychopathology cannot be repaired with money. It can only be repaired with sacrifice. I tell you. Let me get my towel one time. And to the black man of Las Vegas, and for my non-Africans in the room, you're not being disrespected. I understand there's exceptions to every rule. So I'm not chastising any non-African, but I would at the same token say that if the shoe fit, you might as well wear it. To my black men, I'm very ashamed of you, because as I've driven around Las Vegas in this short time, I'm seeing too many black men dating non-African women. So let me be real clear. Let me be real clear. Let me be real clear. Any Negro male who don't see beauty in his own woman, any Negro male who don't see attraction in his black woman, any Negro male who don't see God in the black woman, any coon in Vegas who can't love the black woman ain't worthy of being called a man. Quote me on that. We talking about fighting for the survival of the black family. How the hell we gonna talk about fighting for survival of the black family when you wanna take your hard-earned wages over to another woman's community? Haven't they stole enough? Haven't they robbed enough? Haven't they killed enough? So you're telling me what all the hell we done been through with white folks for 400 years, you wanna go and wife one up? Get the hell out of here. And black woman, don't you follow suit with what the brother is doing. Because some of y'all say you want to get a bunny, I'm going to go get a puppy. And that's just as unacceptable. Because the black woman is the mother of civilization. You are the first being that God put on earth to bring forth life. So you are the living manifestation of supreme consciousness. You are God incarnate. And for a black woman to spread your wings and let your slave master inject his ancestors into your heaven, because you do know when you make a child, that's the coming together of two families, two DNAs, two sets of ancestors. So do you really think Harriet Tubman want to have a cookout with Adolf Hitler? Do you really think? Do you really think Marcus Garvey want to sit down with Thomas Jefferson? Why would you force our African ancestors who have already been traumatized enough to be re-traumatized by your self-hatred? Why would you make your womb an incubator for white power and privilege? I have nothing against the white woman. I have nothing against the Asian woman, the Latino woman. Most of the Latinos are Africans hiding under Spanish language anyway. I have nothing against any woman of another race. but I'm concerned about the survival of my own. And one thing we're going to have to get right, black people, if we're going to get back to glory, is we have to stop feeling insecure about putting our people first. And if your religion doesn't allow you to put black people first, then your religion cannot be in the service of God. It's in the service of white supremacy. Have you noticed we're the only people in America who have to go one place to pray and another to solve our problems? Why is that? You can go to the church and worship God, but when you say, let's talk about police brutality, the pastor say, you can't do that here. Let's talk about the gentrification of black Las Vegas. You can't do that here. Let's talk about economic apartheid in Las Vegas. You can't do that here. So how can you tell me that you are a servant of the Lord when you're comfortable with your people living in hell? Brothers and sisters, black religion has been one of our biggest problems in the post-Dr. King era. And what makes the black church, not all of them, because I'm a descendant of pastors, there's a few exceptions. But generally speaking, what makes the black church the enemy of black people is the black church has a tendency to deify your oppression. The black church has a bad habit of making black people think the reason you ain't got nothing is because God set it up that way. The reason your kids are being miseducated is because God set it up that way. The reason white folks in charge is because God set it up that way. And I'm here to tell you, God didn't set it up that way. White folks set it up that way, and you have allowed him to keep it that way. See, the God I serve doesn't serve me, because that would make God my creation. The God I serve works through me, not for me. So as long as Las Vegas sits down and does nothing about what's happening in your city, you will continue to suffer. See, God is not in a rush to save black folks. And one of the reasons God is not in a rush to save black folks is most black folks just want to be free so they can imitate white folks. If we want to be absolutely honest, half you Negroes in here tonight ain't got a problem with white people in charge. You got a problem with the position white people in charge gave you. See, there's a big difference between being free and being freed. Free people want to stay that way. Freed people never taste freedom, so they can't value it. So black people have transferred and traded in freedom for some of the luxuries of American society. So you don't mind white folks running your life as long as you got a nice car. You don't mind white folks running your life as long as you got a house in a white suburb. You don't mind white people running your life as long as your child can go to Harvard. See, we got to search our soul and ask ourselves, are we praying to God because we want to be divine, or are we praying to God so we can do a better job imitating the devil? Black parents, don't you ever sign no special ed test agreement. Don't sign that paper unless you have a conversation with me. And if it has anything to do with a reading or math disability, don't you sign it at all. Most of your children go to Title I schools. Title I money is money that comes from the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, 1965, Lyndon Baines Johnson. He sent money into the schools to help poor children with reading and math. So can I ask you a question? If most black kids are sent to special ed for reading and math, and every school in Las Vegas just about gets Title I money for reading and math, why isn't the principal using Title I money to get the reading and math scores up? Why are they sending your child to special ed? It's because they're using the Title I money however they choose. And they're using your child for special ed. See, every time I put a kid in special ed, the school gets extra money. See, once I say speech and language impairment, once I say blindness, once I say deafness, once I say autism, once I say hearing impairment, intellectual disability, reading disability, traumatic brain injury, orthopedic impairment, multiple disability, other health impairment, the name go into a computer. It goes to the state of Nevada Department of Education. And by the end of the month, an electronic transfer of funds is sent to the school district in the name of your child. So let's do the math one time, Las Vegas. You got a second grade boy who you let them evaluate and classify as reading disabled or emotionally disturbed or intellectually disabled or math disabled. Your son is in the second grade. So let's say hypothetically in Las Vegas, they spend $10,000 a year per pupil. Once I say he needs special ed, he's not worth $10,000 no more. He's worth $20,000. And guess what? They get the extra $10,000 every year he stays in special ed. So if your son is in the second grade and he got 10 more years until he graduates, $10,000 extra dollars times 10 years is how much? $100,000 for one black boy. 10 black boys, $1 million. 20 black boys, $2 million. How many black boys in special ed in Las Vegas? What is the Las Vegas special ed budget? Let me ask the question another way. How many racist white teachers is living in the suburbs off the fact that you let white folks tell you your children can't learn as well as anybody else? Which is why I'm not a fan. No disrespect to the other groups, but I'm not here to talk about them. I'm a black man, and I speak for black people, and I speak for black people only. I want what's best for the Latino children. I want what's best for the Native American children. I want what's best for the Arab and the East Indian and the Anglo-Saxon children. I don't want nothing bad to happen to any child. But when I speak for my own, because none of these other groups have ever come to the defense of black children. Not one of them. Not one of them. Not one of them. Not one of them. White folks don't ever fight for our kids. Brown folks don't fight for our kids. Yellow folks don't fight for our kids. And red folks don't fight for our kids. So when I speak, I can't take no time away for the white, the yellow, the brown, the red, because I'm too busy focused on the black. See, in order for your child to get special educated, you got to sign your name 4 times. So stop saying, they put my child. Tell me what you did. Because you have to sign permission for the psychologist to test. That's me. Then you got to sign agreement with my evaluation, claiming your child is reading disabled or worse. Then you have to sign the IEP, incarceration preparation agreement. And then you got to sign the special ed service agreement. So you signed your name 4 times before your child start getting special ed services. Yes. I wish I could break your finger that you used to write. Listen, even when we come over to ADHD and conduct disorder and ODD, and by the way, conduct disorder ain't nothing but Caucasian disorder. Black boys get tired of being treated like animals, so they fight back. But guess what? If your son is in special ed for ADHD or conduct disorder or ODD, guess what that means? That means you took your child to a clinic or a hospital, had him evaluated, diagnosed, and then you brought the evaluation back to the school. Because as a school psychologist, I cannot evaluate for mental illness. ADHD, conduct disorder, ODD, are not special ed disabilities. Those are clinical disorders. So if your child is in special ed for ADHD, it's because you talk too much. You went and got them tested, and then you brought the report back to the white folks and told them that we hate black people mental health services of Westside Las Vegas. Said Raheem got ADHD. And you know what's sad about the ADHD boys in special ed? Most of them ain't ADHD. Guess what I found in my work? I've been evaluating kids for 25 years. They not ADHD. Most of them are mentally gifted. The reason they goofing around and playing around is the work is too damn easy, so they can't stay focused. And because you don't really believe in your child, it never even crossed your mind that he's not off task because he's a problem child. He's off task because the curriculum is too weak. Oh, yes. Do you know the research from the white university says teachers pay more attention to the children in the class who look like their own children at home? So if the teachers are mostly white and they pay attention to the children who look the most like their own, what about our dark-skinned daughters and our dark-skinned boys? You don't believe me? Go into any classroom in West Las Vegas. Look at the special ed class and then look at the gifted and talented class. You will see a clear complexion difference. Yes, it's true. And don't act surprised because we still got a light-skin supremacy problem in the black community. Oh, yes, we do. One of the biggest psychological residuals of slavery is the light-skin supremacy complex. But let me clarify. Because you're light-skinned doesn't make you a light-skinned supremacist. In fact, in my experience, most light-skinned supremacists are dark-skinned people. I'll give you an example. Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Justice, blue, black, purple, nappy hair, just like mine. But he's married to George Bush's cousin. He's in love with white folks, and he can't stand his own people. Although he's chocolate, he's a light-skinned supremacist. Light-skinned supremacy is not about your complexion. Light-skinned supremacy is not about your complexion. It's about the complexion you prefer to have around you. Black parents, when the school complains about your child's behavior, don't assume they're telling you the truth. Teachers lie on black children. I live it. You cannot assume Mrs. Slaughtenberger is telling you the truth. And black mother, black women, y'all be making a real big bad decision. Guess what it is? Y'all like turning your child's classroom teacher into your personal life coach. And now you telling all your business to your child's classroom teacher. You done told them things nobody should know but you. And guess what they do? The minute you don't do what they want you to do, put them on drugs or special ed, they go to the principal, Dr. Schwarzkopf, and they tell him that Shaquita was in here today smelling like marijuana, alcohol, gin and juice. And the next thing you know, Child Protective Services is knocking at your door, threatening to take your children away if you don't put them on psychiatric medication. First of all, when the child services show up at your house, number one, you don't have to let them in. Number two, I would not let them in until I see ID in a business card. Number three, if I know I'm totally innocent, I might make them come back with a warrant from the police. Number four, do not answer questions from any Child Protective Service worker until you get the name, phone number, and email of their supervisor. As soon as you're done talking to the child protective service worker who showed up at your house, make sure you call or email their supervisor as soon as they leave your house. You can only counteract them by giving their supervisor another narrative. If the supervisor don't hear from you before they hear from that worker, or if they don't hear from you at all, then all they have to go off is what the worker said. I'm going to tell you something else. You better make sure you let your children know that they have a right to plead the Fifth Amendment in public school. Did you know that? Yes, your child's constitutional rights come with them to school every day. So if your son is questioned by the principal and the dean of students and the school of police as to whether or not he was smoking marijuana, he can simply say, I plead the Fifth. I refuse to answer any questions until my mother and father are present right here. You better teach him that. You better teach him that. And when the school calls you and say, we're going to question him with you on the speaker, you say, you're going to wait till I get there, because you need to see the body language. You need to see any intimidation. Because if your child answers questions without you being there, that principal can take whatever they say and use it against your child and even lie against your child because he didn't have any witnesses. Brothers and sisters, as I prepare to wrap up, I want to say that we as African people better learn how to work together, or we will perish separately as fools. The white power structure has come up with a new way to push racism on blacks. They don't do it in white face no more. They do it in brown face. They do it in yellow face. They do it in red face. They use the other groups as an argument against us. And one of the reasons we got to stop letting people call us people of color, and one of the reasons we got to stop letting people call us minorities, is because when you allow them to lump you in with the other groups, you give them the ability to give all your resources to the brown, yellow, red, and white. You get nothing. If I go to City Hall, Las Vegas, and say, what percentage of the contracts went to black people this year? They'll say, we gave minorities 20% of the contracts. I didn't ask you what you gave minorities. I asked you, what did you give to my people? But because you're so comfortable being lumped in with non-white people who hate you, let's be honest, nobody likes black folks. Let's just be honest. But the first thing you go doing with your low racial self-esteem, people of color, people of color, people of color. It's all about people of color. Where were the people of color when Trayvon Martin got snatched? Where were the people of color with Amir Pope? Where was the people of color with Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Freddie Gray? Where were the people of color then? The only time the people of color show up to be with black folks is when they see an opportunity to claim some resources for their community. And the minute they get finished using you, they act like they never knew you. Brothers and sisters, I want to bring this to a close. Take out your phone so you can take my cell number. I'm going to come back to Las Vegas because I have to do my Black Parent Boot Camp. It's a 12-hour training that teaches you how to be an advocate for your children. If somebody has a space we can use for free, we can expedite that training and do it in the next 2 months. 215-989